whoa, Alex Jones's information is on fire. I mean, when I tell you that I met with a Navy SEAL that I have known through certain ways for several years, I'll leave it at that, through family. And he said, yes, SEAL Team 6 knows that their helicopter was blown up, and they know the bin Laden thing's fake. And then I get contacted by a high-level intelligence group, and they tell me directly that a subdirector of the CIA by name says, you're right, the bin Laden thing's fake, thank you for what you're doing. I mean, it's like Steve Pachenik, who's CFR, wrote a bunch of these movies that Harrison Ford's in, wrote many of the first books with Tom Clancy, famous guy who overthrew heads of state. You know, this guy's, you know, like the E. Howard Hunt type, but beyond that, a psychiatrist. And he's calling up saying, yeah, the 9/11's an inside job, the military's waking up, the people in intelligence appreciate what you're doing. Because the truth is, most of these people have done a lot of things that some would see as terrible, but they don't. They did it because they thought they were fighting communism. Now, as they see it becoming America, it's really waking people up. Pachenik used to talk about how he thought Petraeus was a good guy because he worked with him. He's come out and said Petraeus should resign. He's a disgrace for coming out and saying the CIA spying on everybody domestically, and, you know, all this police state is good. It's out in the open. America has been overrun by scum. And people throughout the system have got to gut up. Whether you're an individual, whether you're a civilian, whether you're a police officer, military, whoever you are, you're going to have to start standing up somehow. And I'm not saying first day go out and, you know, really throw it all on the line, but start doing little things. Because little things together move mountains. Because the only way out of this is standing up. The only way, I've always said this, I'm afraid of being afraid. Being afraid does not feel good. Being afraid is the mind killer, to quote Frank Herbert, the little death. I know the French say an orgasm's a little death, but for me, the little death is fear. And when you let fear pass through you and over you, then it becomes strength. It becomes strength. I love life so much that I'm willing to give mine up in defense of freedom. All right, let's go to your phone calls. Tim in Alaska, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, I'm angry. I'm angry because it starts out when they circumcised me at birth. And then I went on and parents got divorced at 12 years old, and the New World Order just convinced them that, you know, the parents had to be independent, and I went on, I had to live in government-subsidized housing, but I came out of it. I'm from Detroit. My great-grandfather in 1942 retired from Ford, and my uncle is a millwright. He was a millwright. It goes all throughout my family, and I just want to say to all those people in Michigan that you need to get up and stand up and get out there and do something. I had to do something. I had to get out of there. I had to move away. I came up to Alaska where there's oil, and I had to have 2 kids. And those 2 kids are uncircumcised, and they're non-vaccinated, and they're live, and they're vibrant, and they're healthy. And how do you like that, New World Order? That's what I got to say right now.
Well, God bless you, and I really appreciate your call and love your anger, because the anger is the beginning of getting motivated. As for circumcision, I never even thought of it as a big issue. And people are always pointing it out to me, and the more I research it, it is basically sexual mutilation at many levels. And I can understand that sometimes it does get infected. There's an argument that it's got a medical reason. It's a big debate, and it really upsets a lot of people that have been circumcised. I don't want to get into, I mean, I'm circumcised, and most people in America, most Protestants at least, you know, have been circumcised. I mean, I think back around the time I was born, about 90% of people were. I've never, I guess you don't know what you've lost if you never had it. So I understand a lot of people are really upset about it and feel like something was stolen from them. And I get it. I totally get it. But again, it's like when you're born into something, you don't recognize it. And so I think the issue is a newborn can't make the decision on whether they want it or not, so they shouldn't be. You know, that's the issue. And circumcision, you know, is a way so people could tell, are you part of this group? Are you part of this tribe? And then it got, you know, adopted into Christianity. And it's just a standard thing. But I do hear what you're saying. That's the thing about when I just open the phones up, no screening the calls, just randomly taking calls. It'll go in a lot of different directions. But people say, well, what's the difference of what the Muslims do when they cut away part of the female organ? And when it's put in that context, you're like, yeah, I get it. But then I've talked to medical doctors and people, and they're like, no, we see a lot of problems with people that aren't circumcised, infections and things. But then that becomes the issue of, there's like people suing Apple right now saying the apps are addictive for children. Well, yeah, it's rewiring their brains. Moderate use of it is causing brain damage because it's not normal. Humans were never designed for this. It's making their attention spans tiny. It's a fact. Massive studies out there. I told you about it years ago. Now it's admitted. I have the studies then, but now it's a big issue. But I'm like, why are you letting your children do this then? I mean, I go to restaurants now, and most of the children have iPhones or iPads, so the parents can do what they want, and the parents are on smartphones doing it. And I've made a point that it'll be 7 o'clock at night. I'm eating dinner. I've left to go eat dinner, out to eat with my wife and the kids or something. Rob Dew calls up working late going, hey, what do you want to call this video part of the report? And I'm like, oh, call it this, or what do you think? Or they'll call and say, have you seen this? And they text it to me and I look at it. But I'm just making myself now turn it off, put it in my pocket, and check it in little controlled bursts because it's dominating my life as well. So, again, when you're just introduced to something and slowly ease into it like the frog in the boiling pot of water, if it's slowly turned up, you roast, you boil. And that's what's happening now. Let's go ahead and talk to Alan in California. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex. How you doing?
Good.
Alex, just want to say you are an amazing man. You woke me up probably about a year and a half ago. I actually found you through Jesse Ventura on conspiracy theory. I used to work in radio. I was a complete sheeple. I, voted for Obama. I mean, he suckered me. I found you guys and started researching, and I remember, I'm like, yeah, that Alex Jones guy, I remember hearing him, through the radio, and just looked things up, woke up my best friend, and he works at a fast food place. What he does is he actually puts your show on at night. He's a manager, so he plugs in your show at night so that his customers will listen, and he spreads the word. We started a Facebook group, if you'll allow me to kind of say that real quick.
I want you to, yeah. What is it?
Yeah, it's a Facebook group, and it's Awake USA. We started with 7 people. We're about at 145 people. Then it's been online maybe about 5-6 months. So it's growing like crazy. What I wanted to ask you is, you actually, before you started the reporter contest, we wanted to call you and ask you if you would ever consider having kind of like a cub reporter type thing, something that you don't have to pay. Because us living here in San Diego, we have tons of military and Navy going on.
No, absolutely. Look, I'm trying to grow my operation to where I have the managers who can then go through affiliate reporters, because for liability and stuff, you can be infiltrated with a fake reporter who then gets some cred just to get close to you, and then they make up lies to create a COINTELPRO deal. We see that a lot. But if people are just affiliates, and then we plug the name of their site or their Facebook, like your name, Awake USA, like, here's Alan, whatever your last name is, Awake USA, reporting for Infowars.com, and then it's courtesy. We can have reporters all over the country, but more importantly, because my doors are being beaten down with this, and it's what people want, and it's true. We need Australian affiliates, England, Germany, Russia, Mexico. It gets harder when you get into other languages, though, because, again, we don't have the interpreters or people to check it all. I mean, we do, but then they're all busy. And we have folks that do speak Spanish, a lot of folks who know how to read it. It's just that it gets harder with language interface, obviously. But that's a whole plan we've got. We need a few more reporters here so we can send them places every week and have them reporting, a male and female reporter. And we may even hire more. It's how much capital we can bring in through sponsors, through things like that. But then, yes, We can have affiliate reporters who are from their organization reporting for Infowars.com, and then they get the consideration of the truth getting out, but also their website plugged, and then attention on Infowars.com. That is our plan. That is where we're going.
Do that for you, Alex, because we have a lot of stuff. Like I said, for example, we were being here in San Diego, I have a friend who likes airplanes, and the Tijuana airport is right next to the border. We went over there to watch it, and we had, I'm not kidding you, 4 DHS Border Patrol cars come right up to us. And they were asking, what are we doing? Are we waiting for drugs to be thrown over? And I wasn't awake when this happened, or else I would have said something. I was like, no, what are you guys? Are you kidding me? Can we look through your car? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are we doing something wrong? They were just like all over us. It's like, this is something I wish I would have had my iPhone out and I would have sent this right away. It's like, they're just all over you for no reason.
Yeah, the way to handle it is the minute they pull up, just say, hey guys, we're just citizen reporters out here doing a border story. And when they start asking for stuff, just say, come on, man. Use your brain. We're not drug dealers. And if they start getting more, just say, don't violate my rights. You wouldn't want yours violated. They say, hey, let us look in your car. Say, can I look in yours? Because statistically, the Border Patrol has been caught bringing in a lot of drugs. So statistically, not saying you're bad individually, statistically, the MO, if I profile you, is that you're a drug dealer. That's what I say to Border Patrol 100 miles in when they want to search my car. I say, no, you can't. You want to make a big scene, go ahead. By the way, I know your boss is shipping narcotics. And usually at that point, they smile and go, get on out of here. And I'm like, yeah. Because let me tell you, I got to say about half the Border Patrol from the intel I've got who's in management is taking money. I mean, you look at New York narcotics police, Serpico said it was about 100%. A few years after he left, they fired 76% of their narcotics detectives. I mean, so it's just amazing. So, hey, don't wait for orders from headquarters. We're having a contest where you win $5,000 apiece, a man and woman, or 2 different groups. But you could do the report now and enter it, and then if you don't want to come work here, that's fine. The contest is for the money and then to be looked at in the running. And boy, we're getting some good ones coming in. It's amazing. We'll be right back with more phone calls straight ahead. I'll continue with some of your calls in this segment, and then the next little short one, then we're going to have our investigative reporters. Our investigative reporters on with us, documenting the false flag terror attack that was the Oklahoma City bombing 17 years ago today. Headlines at Infowars.com. Rights group demands investigation into illegal Google wiretapping. The Justice Department's closed down their fake investigation of their Street View system. That's all. Google is the government, folks. Continuing, Queen Beatrix's brother-in-law calls for mandatory birth control for the unfit. More eugenics from the environmental group leader. World Wildlife Fund crew. Red alert, draconian CISPA bill picking up sponsors ahead of votes next week. Rand Paul leaves door open for VP slot. That's pretty big breaking news. It had only been secondhand statements by Jesse Benton and people, who heads up his dad's campaign, but he's just leaving the door open. I want to get your take on that. Senator Rand Paul says he's concerned Interpol could arrest Americans under foreign laws. That's the big issue. People are like, well, Interpol already arrests people. Yeah, when there's an agreement with the country that Interpol's working for in Europe, that's when that happens. Like, oh, yeah, we